He is. He's a world-class basketball player. So we'll continue to build and get better and try to figure this out where everyone is, a threat and we make each other better.
Michael Grady with Yes Network.
And Coach, in what ways did James exceed your expectations in a debut?
Well, I just think, he's had obviously a very strange start to the season, stop-start year. He's not in his best condition yet. So for him to do as many things as he did on the basketball floor tonight was incredible. And, it's great to get one under his belt and for him to kind of, feel his teammates in the building and we'll just keep building. But he was, incredible for a guy who, like I said, is just trying to get himself in shape.
And the guys, around him and guys making plays, Bruce Brown, the big three late, there's going to be a lot of talk about, Kyrie, Kevin, and James. But, how important are those other guys on the roster?
Well, it can't just be, your top guy, your top two, your top three guys. You got to play team basketball. Everyone's got to be a threat. Everyone's got to play their role, know their role. And so those are things we have to figure out. But, I thought I was exceptional tonight, Joe played well. Bruce played well. Jeff gave us some important veteran experience, and you go down the line and guys contributed. So it was, I think a game that could have gone the other way. It took us a while to find it and to pull away, but it wasn't clean at all. It wasn't easy, but that's a tribute to their team, and but we got a lot to build on.
Brian Lewis with the New York Post.
Hey, Steve, it's obvious it's only one game, short sample size, but I mean, when James says, well, I'm going to facilitate and I'm going to pass and I'm going to make my teammates better and do all those things, it's different from saying it's actually going out and doing it. How encouraging was it for you to see the way he threaded passes, the way he rebounded, the way he did all of those things that he was saying he was going to do?
Yeah, I can't say I'm surprised. We've had a pretty big sample size of him doing that the last 6 to however many years he's been in the league. But it's not easy. Like we said, he's not in his best condition yet. He's joined a new group, with basically no practice time and figured it out on the fly. So, I think, he had a bunch of turnovers tonight that are just because he's new to the team and group, and you're thrown out there in an NBA game where the other team's an excellent coach basketball team, and they're going to scheme and they're going to make it difficult. And so those types of things are normal. But all the things he did accomplish on the floor were incredible for his first evening.
Malika Andrews with ESPN.
Hey, Steve, I have two for you. First, when you were watching from the sidelines, could you see, oh, yes, I see how Kyrie's going to fit in here, boom, it's going to be easy? Or were you looking at it saying, okay, maybe there's some things that we're going to have to grow and adjust to fit him in here too?
I think we're going to have to continually find how it all works to its best level, to the most effective and efficient standard. But, like throwing Kyrie in the mix makes us better. It's a good problem to have, trying to figure out, where they can coexist to their highest level and standard. So I think it takes time. I think it's going to be an adjustment for everyone, but it's an incredible problem to have and something that I think we'll relish trying to decipher.
And secondly, there was a moment where, Kevin kicks out to Bruce Brown. You have James Harden, all smiles. Was this, where did this rank in terms of fun that you've had coaching a game this year? Because it sure looked like the players were enjoying themselves.
Yeah, I think everyone was excited. It's obviously you bring a player of James' caliber and his excitement to be here, and everyone was excited. And it's been a fun few days. As far as the performance, gosh, my head is spinning. Who did we play 3 nights ago? No, three games ago at home. A very good team. Denver. We played Denver. That was a fun evening. We played in New York and had an excellent short staff game where guys moved the ball, played together, and then tonight again, found a way to win. So it's been a fun few games for us, and we needed them. We need to build. We need some positive energy because, we've had some difficult times this year as well. And but tonight was really fun, and happy to see the guys enjoying what they do.
Ian Begley with SNY.
it's Steve, just I guess over the last couple of days and then moving forward, how much do you lean on or will you lean on Mike D'Antoni in terms of getting to know James's game and how best to implement him?
Well, I think it's, an invaluable resource. I think it'd be silly not to really, lean on Mike for all of his experience with James and their familiarity and how and what James likes and how he works best. So, those are conversations that I'll have with James, but we'll all have as a group and a staff. And Mike, obviously, with his insight and his relationship with James, is invaluable.
And last question will go to Mark Mendina with USA Today.
Hey, Steve, good to see you.
Sure.
I want to follow on a point you said pregame about how adaptable and versatile Kevin is. When you worked with him in Golden State, what were your takeaways with how he was able to apply that in that group and fit in with those personalities, and how do you see that applying here?
Yeah, I think Kevin's the most adaptable because of his versatility. He can pretty much play anywhere on the floor. He can play without the ball. He can play with the ball. He can play in the post, elbow, nail, out handling. So, I think for Kevin, it's the easiest transition in that he's quite happy to move around and play different roles. So, and he also has that Golden State experience. So, having to play with other great players and that ability to share for the betterment of the group. So we'll lean on Kevin for that. He's been through it, and he, handled it with incredible success.
Thanks so much, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
Amongst the things that Steve Nash touched on there, Richard, he talked early about how, James has kind of had this strange season. It's probably in part led to him not being in his best game condition, and yet can still go out there and do all the things that he was able to do tonight.
Yeah, now he can. Now, is that something that's sustainable? Like, everyone in basketball knows that in order to really make a run at a championship, I don't care how talented you are, you need to be 100% locked in. Your body has to be in peak physical condition. So, yes, they were able to come out here against Orlando, and this is what we talked about in the pregame. When you can have the second or third best defender on your team guarding a James Harden.
But these players wanted this, which obviously shows their inclination to want to do whatever they have to win. And James Harden has shown that ability to play make, and it's not just that he has the skills to do it, Richard. There's the buy-in now to not play the way he was in Houston and to access more of those playmaking abilities, and we saw that already in Game 1.
Ryan, I 100% agree with you. What you have to do is you have to look around the league sometimes. And James Harden has led the league in assists. And then as his team and the dynamic of his team started to change, he then started to be like, okay, well, I'm going to go and average 34 points a game. Look at a guy like LeBron James. You add Anthony Davis on his team, and what does he do? He goes and leads the league in assists at 10 a game. I really think that James Harden, even though we're in the very beginning of the season, could lead the league in assists if he chooses to play that way. And so when you ask James, like, James, what is your goal? Sometimes it's to be the leading scorer. Sometimes it's to be the MVP. These guys that are on this tier, when you talk about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and James Harden and LeBron James, they can adjust their game. It's all a matter about what they want to do on the basketball floor. So if you tell James, like, James, we need you to average 25 and 10, or we need to average 26 and 11, he can go and do that, and pretty much with ease, especially with the arsenal around him. So I think this was a quick message to everyone on this team, everyone in this league, that, look, they're going to be able to move the ball. They're going to be able to score. The next step that we're going to be talking about is how do they play that high-level team defense that's going to be needed when you're talking about the postseason.
You know, Richard, during the game, I thought Sarah had a very poignant and simultaneously funny remark when she said, it feels like Kevin Durant is a veteran here now with all the attention on James Harden, the newcomer, and it sort of does, but you watch the performance tonight and you realize, yeah, it's still new and it's still special to watch his greatness in all of its glory.
I stand by this fact, especially now that you see that Kevin Durant is 100% healthy. You see that James Harden might have been embellishing maybe his conditioning and maybe his weight a little bit in Houston. Ultimately, the Nets have 3 of the top 10 players in the NBA, in my opinion. And so when you put these 3 players on the court together with a varying degree of skill, right? They can all handle the ball. They can all score one-on-one. They can all do so many different things. I think it's going to be interesting. And one point that I will add, when you have the 3 of them, the relationship with the media can be a bit difficult in the New York area. But when you have 3 superstars that are able to split the responsibility, these are something that people don't think about. It could be one day where James like, hey guys, I got it. KD, hey, you guys go take a break. I got it. Kyrie, step up, is like, hey, you guys take it. So a lot of it is not just a responsibility that's going to be split on the court, but a lot of it too is the responsibility that can be split off the court and can allow guys to kind of decompress and not have so much media attention all the time.
Well, Durant, 42 points, a season high, most in a game since Game 3 of the Western Conference semifinals back on May 4th, 2019. 16 of 26 from the floor at 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He's talked about wanting to clean up the turnovers as well. He had 6 of them tonight. But we saw that last highlight there, Richard, where he fed Bruce Brown, who's apparently has the clutch gene based on what we've seen from Bruce Brown in the fourth quarter over these last couple of weeks. But how about that, Richard? How about the way the rest of this team is able to play off of Durant and James Harden?
Yeah, and I'm going to include a guy like Landry Shamet, and I think there's going to be a lot of attention on Jeff Green, and rightfully so. You already saw some of those smaller lineups that they were playing with where Jeff Green is at, I would say, kind of the 4-5. Kevin Durant is 7 foot. He's at the 4-5. And when you're talking about size, you're talking about James Harden at 6'6". That could be your point guard, your 2 guard, your 3-man, whatever position that you need. So that's going to be key for them. If they're able to shore up their defense, and like I said, they don't have to be a top 5 defense, not with this type of offense. Yes, it would be great to be a top 5 defense, but if they can hover somewhere between the 10 and 15 range and limit their turnovers, again, be top 10 in the league in turnovers and not 18th, not 22nd. If they could be right there at like 10 or 11, be a 10 to 15 type defense with the offensive firepower that you have on this roster,